Hey, good afternoon, everybody. How's it going? How's everybody doing? Super excited to be with you today. Doing this live today because, listen, summertime is almost here. If you're a youth pastor, a Sunday school teacher, a small group leader, welcome in because I want to help you get your summer ready. If you have questions about summer, your summer planning, I'm going to encourage you to start thinking about your questions. You can drop them in the chat at any time you want, and hopefully I will be able to answer these questions for you. If you're brand new here, by the way, my name is Paul Turner from the discipleproject.net, and I've been a youth pastor for now a little over 35 years, currently serving as a part-time youth pastor in a small rural church here in Alabama, and super excited to be with you. Hopefully I can go ahead and share some of my ideas with you today, maybe answer some questions. Maybe we'll have a little fun if that's okay with you. I like to have a little bit of fun, but we're going to be covering three things, I believe, today. We're going to talk about graduation. We're going to talk about summer camp. And we're going to talk about just summer planning in general. Okay? And so, like I said, if you have questions, start thinking of them now. Drop them in the chat. However you want to do it. But I want to encourage you to do that because I think this is a good opportunity to ask those questions. And I will do my best to answer them. First of all, I'd like to know if you're, and by the way, if you're watching this later on, by all means, please go ahead and leave your questions down in the comments, and I will do another video because I think I'm going to do more live videos. I enjoy making videos, but I much more enjoy the interaction. I much more enjoy being, with people that are with me, and we're talking, we're chopping it up, we're discussing. That's the stuff I enjoy. Making videos is fine. It's okay. It's not, I've made a bunch of them. I think there's 1,400 videos on this channel if you check. I've been doing it now, YouTube now for 15 years. Plenty of things here. If this is your first time to the channel, be sure to go ahead and subscribe because you never know when I'm going to go live. So go ahead and click the bell notifications, all the things so that you know when I go live so that we can go ahead and have a conversation. Be sure to check, like I said, the other lists, the other playlists that I have. There's game video. There's like a list with over 100 games on it. There's a camp list. There's all these things. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But just so you know, this channel is a catalog of youth ministry. It's 15 years of my youth ministry life. And then, what I did before that was, just did youth ministry without YouTube, right? All right, so let's go ahead. I do want to let you know we're going to be talking. I'm going to give you, before we get into everything, we're going to talk about summer movies real quick. I thought it'd be fun to kick off that way. So start thinking of your favorite summer movie. What is the summer movie that you say, hey, I got to watch this every year? Every year, if it's on TV, I'm going to flip to it, and if it's on, I'm just going to sit there and watch it. Before I do that, though, I want to let you know that this video is sponsored by Catalyst Coaching, which is what I do. I coach youth workers, and I have spaces and opportunities that if you are interested in coaching, I would love to coach you. I would love for you to be a part of that. It's one-to-one coaching. It is not cohort coaching. And as much as I love, being with a group of people, I find that one-to-one coaching is the best. I've been in cohorts. The problem is that you only get, if you're in a group of 5 or 10, you're only getting 1/5 or 1/10 of the attention. If you're on one-on-one coaching, you have all the attention. And I prefer it that way in that regard because we're always missing something, right? If we're in a cohort. So let me give you my top 5 movies. I know we're still waiting for a few people to get in here, but I would love to hear what your favorite summer movie is. I'm going to start with mine. And this goes back to my childhood. It was a movie called Meatballs. In Meatballs, I cannot attest. First of all, this is a probably a 10-year-old boy who watched this, probably who should not have been watching it. But Meatballs has these key moments. Once again, it's not, for everybody. So just so you know, I'm going to say it's Meatballs. If that's on, it's not usually on, and I don't purposely go find it because I have some allegiance to it. But if it's on and Bill Murray's in there, listen, I'm in. Okay. The second movie that I'm probably going to watch, if it's on, this is my daughter and I's favorite movie, is The Parent Trap. And let me know also down in the comments whether you've seen any of these movies. Parent Trap, once again, a great summertime movie, right? Talk about camp, all those kind of things. I enjoy the original as well as the remake here. And it's just a fun movie, lots of good soundtrack. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Parent Trap as a movie that if it's on, I will more than likely sit and watch it. And let's see, The Sandlot. That'd be my third choice. If Sandlot is on, and I probably think I watched this a couple of months ago, it was on. It's just a winner every time. It's just a winner every time I see it. You know, I watch it and I go, oh, that's so good. This thing is so well made. And it's a great summertime movie, right? Baseball, you have all that going on. And then I have, let's see, in the fourth slot, I have Vacation. Listen, it's, you know, there's so many one-liners. There's just so many. It's hard to, I mean, listen, when you're tying Aunt Edna to the roof of the car, come on now. You know, if you're a fan of the movie, you know about that. Oh, Aunt Edna. So yeah, got to watch Vacation if it's on. Once again, I don't just purposely go out and just, you know, sit down and say, I got to watch this. It's not tradition, but if it's on, right, I'm stopping. I'm going to watch. Okay. And the last one is Jaws. I've watched it 1,000 times. You know, and I'm always, it doesn't matter where it is. Once again, tons of one-liners there. You know, you're going to need a bigger boat, you know, singing, you know, when they're singing, you know, show me the way to go home. It's always in my head. It's been in my head forever. Once again, saw this at a very young age as well. I have issues. I've seen too many movies at young ages when there were no rules back then, right? So my aunt and my mom would take me to movies that like, oh, we're going to go see that. Saw Friday the 13th at a very young age, was technically a summer movie because it's about summer camp, right? But I would like your input. Yeah, Matthew Bruner. Yes, The Sandlot, Anchorman, Lord of the Rings. 100%. I'm with you. All good choices. All right. So as we're jumping in here, we're going to be talking about first. We're going to talk about, and I'm going to swap over my camera here just to talk about a little bit about graduation. If you have graduation questions, it's a good time to do this. Okay. Because I'm just going to pop over to the screen here and kind of show you, because I have a guide here that I want to talk about. I'm going to just show you a piece of this guide. The guide is available over in my store. If you do not have this, it is called Launching Well, your guide to launching your graduating class with style. And I'm going to drop a link there to the guide. Okay, let's see here. Yep, there we go. And I will drop it here. And I'll just say it's Grad Guide. There we go. And then I'm also going to drop the link for coaching. So if you're interested in coaching, one-on-one coaching with me, I'll put the link there for that as well. I've just finished up a session with a young man in Texas. Awesome young man. Tremendous. He is going to do some amazing things. And it's not because I taught him necessarily anything, but because he just gives off that vibe like, hey, I am dialed into this thing. I am dialed into this thing called youth ministry, and he is just ready to go. And so what an enjoyable experience that was. And that's what I think coaching should be. Coaching should be an enjoyable experience. And so that is what I hope to give you if you're interested in coaching. It's 6 weeks. And then you can re-up if you want, but 6 weeks is usually a good time period. It's twice a month for 3 months, and it's a good period for, for being able to test things out and ask questions over those 6 weeks while you're in coaching. I find that to be 3 months is a good period, for testing those things out. Let's see, and we'll do the link here. And so if you're interested in that, I don't know where you're at in your ministry. You could be on your way in and you're brand spanking new. You could be on your way out and you say, Paul, I really need some help. Well, either way, I'm here for you. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and jump over there and let's go ahead and swap screens. And we will go over to Launching Well, your guide to launching your graduating class with style. Once again, this is available over in the store. And I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit bigger so you can see a little bit better. And as I scroll through here, you'll see, that I put some quotes in there for you. Goes through a list of things. This is a section called the 6 questions to get your seniors spiritually ready for the world. And you say, Paul, but it's kind of late for this, isn't it? No, it's not, because you're planning. If you get it now, you're planning for next year. I mean, you're done, right? I mean, you have what you need. But I'm going to take you over to the section here that I want to talk about, which is, Rocket Launching 101. That's a good section. And let's talk about Graduation Sunday, right? Graduation Sunday is one of my favorite. It has been one of my favorite years, especially if I am graduating students that have been with me for a number of years. Now, I won't have any graduates this year. It's a little sad in that way that I'm not graduating some students. I will be graduating a bunch in about 2 years. And, and I say here, it says most of your pastors do not want to your pastors don't want you to take for the whole service, right? So, right, you're on a time limit, right? You only have so much time. You gotta get through things. And if you have a lot of graduates, that's a thing. If you have a small group, that's okay too. But I know that pastors are thinking about your time. How much time is the graduate? Now, some pastors give you all the time, right? That's the service. There are some, though, some that I've worked for, that you have a window of opportunity, and you got to get through it. So some of the things that I've done here that I find that are valuable is the pre-graduation Sunday. So you want to post, announce, email graduation Sunday plans at least a month in advance, encouraging parents to follow your instructions. Like, these are the instructions you want to give parents. Okay? Will your child be here for graduation Sunday? And yes, you're going to have to, I would go through and ask around, because and I know there are kids that are going to show up that Sunday that you have never seen in your entire life. Which means, quick tip, be sure to have extra gifts ready. We'll talk about that in a minute. But you want to make sure that you have those extra gifts ready, because those kids are going to come in. You're going to, but I think you got to have rules, right? There's got to be rules to the game here. And a month in advance, and if you don't have this if you have a parent, I don't want to say like a new parent, welcome to the youth group type of thing, I would put that in the new parent thing, because listen, this is your guide to, whatever youth ministry, whatever the name of your guide to Crossroads, youth ministry. And then there's a graduation piece. Now, if they have a senior, great, they're going to pay attention to that a little bit more. If they have a middle schooler, they're not going to pay attention to that as much, but it's in there. You've given it to them. They know about it. But you want to make sure that, that you're planning correctly and that you are on top of those things, that who is going to be here, who is not going to be here, because then if you're reading names and they're not here and so forth, right? So you want to make sure and contact those kids, even if you think they might show up. And don't forget, by the way, your college folks. And this is my fault too. I forget about college graduates sometimes. If they're not in the church, like if there could be somebody getting their degree or their master's or whatever it is, honor all the graduates. Maybe there's somebody graduating, who knows, right? From getting their PhD. Honor those people as well and take time with them, okay? How many people, if you do a graduation luncheon, you're going to want to get numbers for that. And a month ahead of time is pretty good. That's a round number, by the way. It's not a permanent number. You want to make sure you have the number because you're going to have people cooking and so forth. And, that's an important detail that I think new youth pastors especially miss because they're not, there's so much going on, it feels like, that things can get lost. And so I want to encourage you, make sure you know how many people are going to be at your graduation luncheon. Or, I've done it several ways. You can have graduation luncheon at the church. You can say, hey, we're doing graduation, which is even more important, by the way, that you have the numbers, because if you're going out and you have to make reservations somewhere, also critically important. Have you filled out and handed in the graduation info sheet with, right? This is important. I make parents their kids are graduating. Now they can email it. You can hand them a form. You can do it however you choose to do it. But I need to know some things, right? I need to know honors your child has received. What have you received? I want to make sure if they're in the Key Club, or if they, all the football team, they were captain of their football team, all those things, right? That we need to know. Awards and honors, right? Are they top of their class? Are they valedictorian? These are things that we need to know so we can honor them in a proper way. I also ask for future plans. What are their future plans? Where are you going to? Because not every kid's going to college, right? This is something you notice over years, right? There are less kids maybe going to college, more kids entering the workforce. More. And you think, well, this student's John Milrose, I'm just making that name up. John Milrose, his future plans are to be a YouTube influencer, right? I'm just wondering how much of that has permeated our church service in the sense of what students are doing. Let me know. What have you heard? Or maybe the wildest, what are you going to do after graduation? Right? There's kids that are going to go to the military. There are kids that are going to go to college. There are kids that are going to take a gap year. Right? These are things you have to know. But there are kids who are going to say, listen, I'm going to be a YouTube influencer, or I'm going to have my own TikTok. And that's what I'm going to do with my life. Right? And then I do graduation pictures, right? So I do the slideshow. Don't know if you guys do that, but I do that. And I honor the kids and say, hey, this is, because those kids that come once a year for 4 years, and then they show up for graduation, well, why not let the congregation know who they are as well? Hey, do you know this kid? No, there's all the people start looking at you. Do you know who they are? Who are they? I don't think I've ever seen them before. And and so the crowd starts to murmur. And so, you get a picture, and by the way, a graduation picture, and you can add, if you decide, this is up between you and your parents, okay? Make sure you go ahead and say, look, I do 3 pictures. It's a 3-picture max. This is not a funeral. This is not a memorial service. I need 3 pictures. Them as a child, them as a teenager, young, maybe middle school, and them as their graduation picture. Otherwise, it's chaos. Chaos, I tell you. Do not allow, say, oh, can we put this back? No. 3 pictures. That's the rule. The other pictures, say, I would be happy to show these in the youth service. I'd be happy to show these in the youth service. But I can't do it on Sunday morning. Time is limited. I need 3 pictures. I need a baby picture, maybe, right? If you want to stretch it to 4, that's up to you. Baby, child, middle school, graduate photo. Then do all your other photos, later, right? And then once you have that kind of information, you want to say, look, send out a reminder once a week until graduation. Hey, it's 3 weeks away. Hey, it's 2 weeks away. Hey, it's 1 week away. If you choose to ignore this, then you, quite frankly, deserve what you get. What if it's chaos that morning? I'm sorry, youth pastor. It is on you. You have not properly prepared. You have not prepared your parents. And if it's a hot mess, then your pastor's going to ask you, well, what happened? And you're going to have to say, well, I didn't contact people. I didn't remind people. I didn't update things. You have to do those things. That's just part of doing that. Another thing I say is make sure your pastor has all the names, right? Make sure your pastor has all the names you have of students who are graduating. So that, because let's be honest, your pastor doesn't know all those kids. Okay? If you're in a small church, probably, maybe, but ultimately, make sure your pastor has those names on Sunday morning so that he can do a shout out, or he sees a kid, in the hallway, and that's the kid that's, comes once a year. At least he knows their names, or she knows their names, whichever, right? So make sure your pastor has names. Check with your pastor secretary for names you have missed. See, that goes back to saying, look, who is the unexpected? Who is the X factor in this service? Who do we think might show up? Who says, well, this is my church. They have not been to church in 500 years, but they're going to show up today because this is my church that I don't go to anymore, but we're going to do graduation service for you. So you know what I'm saying. I know what you're thinking. Say, Paul, you sound awfully like there's such disdain in your voice. Well, a little bit, yeah, because I can't stand it. It drives me crazy that people just say, well, this is my church. Really? It's your church. It must be in name only because I've not seen you around. So there's that. Now, make sure you have purchased enough gift cards, etc., and then buy extra because you know that one kid's going to show up unannounced. So once again, make sure you have enough gifts. I got ahead of myself earlier. Graduation service elements. What can you do, right? Make sure you and your pastor discuss the order of service and the potential plans you have. Have a sample copy of the service ready to go over with your pastor and discuss any potential additions or changes that need to be made. So, example. Here's a sample service I have used in the past with some additional notes. So what is the last worship song? You can, right? You're going to talk to your worship pastor and say, hey, what's the last worship song that I'm supposed to come up? Or is pastor introducing me? Or how is this going to work, right? Get your logistics correct. Then you say, okay, then you may say, well, we're going to play the slideshow. Nobody goes up. We're just going to play the slideshow. We're going to go right into that, right? And then, I actually share how to put one together later on in the thing. So if you've never put together one, lots of options now that maybe we didn't have before. Make sure, this is important here, make sure the media team has graduation photos and your slideshow, and they are properly working before service. Always, always, always do a media check and say, is it working? Play it for me right now. I don't care what you're doing. Play it for me right now. I need to see that it's working. So that if anything goes wrong, you're going to be able to say, we checked this before service. Okay? We checked this. Because if it doesn't work, guess who's getting looked at? You, the youth pastor. Also make sure the music you have is approved just in case. Now, in this graduation, I put an extra, when you purchase it, I put an extra 15 songs. This is the 24-25 songs. And I'm going to be putting out a video maybe tomorrow, maybe Thursday, where there's a whole thing of it. I'm going to share the songs, at least share the bands and the song titles with you. I can't share the actual songs because then they demonetize you here on the old YouTube. But I'm going to share those. You can get those early, though, and it's links to the videos as well. So if you're saying, look, I need the right song for this, Paul, I have 15 songs for you. In addition to, and later on, like I said, I have links in here that lead to Spotify playlists. How about that, right? And you can get a hold of that. So you can listen to them and see what you want. And then, of course, talk with other people and say, hey, which of these songs are good? Which is going to be best for our congregation? That's why I say also make sure the music you are using is approved just in case. Maybe you don't want to use something maybe that's a little too rock and roll, maybe too hip hop, depending on your congregation, right? You want to find that middle of the road, Matthew West kind of vibe that you got going on. But, and one of his songs is actually included in there. I think it's called 18 Months. No, 18 Years, excuse me. Or 18 Summers. My bad. 18 Summers, okay? At that time, you want to work with the students, and you want to have a parent help you do this, right? Have students on the front row or come up on stage right after or during the slideshow to save time. once again, you want to save time in the service. You want to keep things moving along, because if you're not the feature act, if you're only the opening act, well, the opening act cannot stay too long. That's just how it goes in churches, right? And so you want to make sure that you say you're going to instruct your students, say on that morning, make sure you're wearing your cap and your gown and whatever else you have. And make sure that you go into the church and you're going to stand to the right or to the left, or we're coming through this door. And yes, if you don't have to, you could do a practice run through if you want, like on a Wednesday night or something, take your seniors. But guess what? There's plenty of people that are not going to be there for the run through. So you're going to have to email those instructions to those parents that week before and say, this is what we're doing. Okay. Then you have comments about the graduating class. I love, let's see, I love to do the year you were born. And the year you were born is just fun for me, because it's just like a mind blower. Now it's getting less and less mind blowing, maybe in the sense of maybe where, gas was $1.25 back in 1992 or whatever, right? So that's, but if you can just look up the year you were born. And I picked 5 or 6 things. I read what was the number one movie in the box office, what was the number one song, what was, happening in the news, maybe how much gas was, how much grocery prices were, those kind of things. So I like doing a little the year you were born, just for context. That's a little something for the congregation. Is the kid going to care? Probably not as much. But the context for the congregation says, hey, these 18 years ago, this is what life was like, right? And we're getting, we're past, I think, the age of internet, because I know YouTube just turned 20 or 25. I think it turned 20. And so now we're past that. I mean, it's going to be a place where, there's, everything now from that point on will all be just, the internet. What was the latest TikTok? Will that be like, here in the year you were born, here's the number one TikTok? Who knows? That could be a thing. I don't really know. But we'll see. Then you say, okay, read names, where they're graduating from, honor they have received, clubs, so forth. Don't forget their place in the youth ministry. Let me highlight that. Were they a leader? Did they help? Did they help serve? Were they a small group leader? Did they win an award within youth group? Did they win high honors for fine arts one year? Did they win Bible quiz? Did they put youth group things in there as well? Because you know what? Youth group, if for some of them, has been a part of their lives. And why not honor that part of their lives, right? And then, of course, and their future plans, right? What are they going to do? Make sure you have that, because I've gotten that wrong, where I assumed they were going to college and they are not going to college. So you need to make sure you have those plans intact. Give the graduates their gift. Explain what the gifts are. I have a whole playlist here on the channel of nothing but graduation gifts. And in this guide, I give you, I think, 15 or 17 graduation gift ideas. I have, I think, 20 or 24 book ideas. So those are all in here as well. And then you have, unless you just want to show them and give them their gifts at the luncheon, you can just have, if you're having a luncheon, you can give it to them then. And then invite the pastor to pray over them. That's always a good thing. I've had, families come up. And, if it's small enough, if it's, logistically good, I have parents come up and say, hey, lay your hands on these kids and let's pray for them together, right? And then you remind them, graduates, if you're having a luncheon, it says, and immediately, please join us in the fellowship hall following the service for lunch. Make sure that's in there. And then unless you're going to a restaurant or or not having lunch, etc. I also underlined immediate families so that the rest of the church does not eat up all your food. So you need to make sure that those families, if it's an open luncheon, like example, we want everybody to come in because they have their little booths, right? I've had kids set up their little tables with a card basket where people can come back. Well, make sure those kids and those parents go first so that all the food isn't eaten, right? That's kind of an important thing. Okay. All right. And then you have, putting, you have your pictures, so forth. And there's all kinds of things in there. I'm not going to go in there, but I think that's pretty much a basic outline of what you're going to get. But there's a ton of resources in here, and the link is in the chat. The link will also be down below. And so let's go ahead and check in with everybody, see how everybody's doing here. And then we'll jump back into it, because we're going to go for the second part, and we're only going to hopefully stay for about an hour. We're going to do summer camp. Okay, so if you're interested in that, I'll put a link down below. But if you have questions, once again, about graduation, about how to do the service or any of those things, great opportunity to ask. And once again, if you're watching this in the future, leave those questions down below. Okay. And let's see what else. I'm going to go ahead and drop in there, because we are going to talk about summer. We're going to talk about summer camp specifically. And we're going to focus on one little section of this, because there's a ton of resources in this guide. I believe in over-delivering. I believe in over-promising and over-delivering. Because let me tell you something, there's just things, that younger youth pastors don't know yet. There are some things that older youth pastors like myself have forgotten. And so I try to include a bunch and keep it super basic, and keep the things in there that are just going to remind them, because you know what? These can be stressful days. You're leading up to summer. You're trying to get, have this epic summer with your students. And it really starts with graduation. It starts with that. And then it's off to the races. It's mission trips, or it's youth camp, or it's just hanging out, and you're just doing some bunch of fun stuff, right? So I do want to let you know that if you don't have your summer planned, let me just tell you, you need to get your summer planned, because let me tell you something. I have, let you know that I have a summer bundle available. And I'm going to put a link down below to the summer bundle if you're interested in the summer bundle, because there's a ton of resources in there. There's all kinds of things. We'll talk about that here in just a little while. But I do want to let you know that it is available. And if you need help with your planning, feel free to jump there and get it. Link is in there. Link will also be down below. So be sure to get your summer bundle. Let's see. Let's move into our summer camp. So if you have summer camp questions, let me know. Let me know if you got them. Leave them there in the chat. If you're watching in the future, leave them down in the comments. And let's go to youth camp. Here we go. So this is one of the key questions, the key sections here that I have, and I'll show you. Let's see, what page is this? This is page... Oh, there's 55 pages in this, by the way. These are not little things. There's 30, 40, 50 pages in these guides. I'm trying to make sure it's beefy, so when you get it, you go, oh, far more value here than I expected, which is kind of the goal here, right? You want to have that. All right, so let's go ahead and jump over here and take a look at the Youth Pastor's Guide to Successful Youth Camp. Now, you can see here, I'll drop down, and that's an opening little letter there. But here's the table of contents. Here's everything you're going to get in there. Here's everything that's in the guide. And there's just tons of resources in there, okay? And we're going to jump down to the parents part there. Once again, this is just one section of it that I'm going to try to share with you. And that is going to be the 7 post-camp questions to help parents disciple their kids. That is the ultimate goal, is that parents are discipling their kids. That's what we want. These kids, right? We see them an hour, maybe 2 hours a week, and then they're with their parents or they're at school. And so we want to equip parents. And so I find this to be one of the most critical. Now, whether parents do it or not, I can't attest to whether they do it or not. Some maybe have, some have not, right? But I put it in there. You can print this off. I believe there's a parent version. I want to say that I did this. Did I do this? Yes. Here's the parent version. 7 post-camp questions to help your child grow spiritually. And you're preparing parents to welcome these kids back into the home. So you can copy this and give it to parents. I usually, the Sunday before we leave for camp, this is what I give them. I say, hey, here's 7 questions. Keep these in mind because, you're trying to help them because a lot of parents, what the parents do, all the parents do is ask and say, well, how's your week at camp? Oh, it was fine. Oh, good. I'm glad. Did you have fun? Yeah, it was fun. Skibbity toilet. You know what I'm saying? It's that those kind of conversations. So I'm trying to equip parents to have these conversations with their students. If they can, look, it's off my hands once I give it to them. Say, hey, here's the questions. Do what you will with them, right? So let me drop down here. Okay, these are the 7 questions I tell them. By the way, I don't tell them to, when I preface this to parents, I say, look, don't sit down and ask all 7 questions. These are conversations. These are, go ahead and just use them when you're driving. Don't even ask them on day 1. Let 2 or 3 days go by. And when you're driving them to soccer practice, ask these questions then. Don't ask them, the day they come home. They will hate you for it. The kids will be like, oh my gosh, why do you keep asking me all these questions? All right, question number 1. And you don't have to, and I also say, parents, I wrote these questions. You don't have to ask them this way. Ask them in a conversational mode. Do you feel like God did anything special in your heart this week? Right? Did you feel like the Lord was doing something? And just leave it at that. It's an open-ended question. Let the student describe to you. Maybe now that you may have kids that come home and they divulge everything. They tell you everything. They're so excited, and that's great. That's awesome. That's what we prefer, right? As parents, we want them to come home and tell us how exciting it was. We want them to tell them that they had an encounter with God. Sometimes, though, the lead gets buried because they're tired and they just want to sleep for the next 6 days, right? I understand. I get it, right? So be sure to say, parents, listen, teens live off emotion and will be better able to describe what camps felt like rather than what actually happened, okay? Question number 2, how did the worship draw you closer to God this week? Ask them about the band. Was the worship band any good? What was there, ask them, did you have a favorite song this week that was good, that you enjoyed? Sometimes the songs they mention are clues to what they may be experiencing from God that week. And if they mention a bunch of songs, then why not, buy the songs or create a playlist on, they're going to do all this stuff themselves, by the way. Parents can do it, but in reality, the kids will make their own. They'll figure that out, right? Or make a playlist for your car. You can do that. I mean, that's what we're encouraging parents to do so that they can play that list. And that's a great thing for youth pastors. Youth pastors, do the playlist. Say, parents, these are the songs we sang this week. Make a playlist for your car so that when the playlist comes on, and parents, you're not saying, hey, here's the playlist from camp. No, you're saying, hey, you're just playing music. And the kid goes, hey, we sang that at camp. And it brings them back to those moments where maybe a conversation can come up, right? So you ask them about the music. 3rd question, who did you most connect with at camp? Now, once again, that's a youth pastor question. That's a more formal question, right? Who did you hang out with, right? Who did you hang out with? Maybe they hung out with somebody they didn't even know. A lot of my kids hang out with other kids from other churches. Sometimes they don't even hang out with each other, for good or for bad, just the way it goes, right? So don't freak out if your kids, but the kids your kids connect with may not be the kids from the youth group, right? Large camps, lots of kids to hang out with, but they may, tell you that so-and-so prayed with them, right? Their friend or whoever it is was at the altar with them. And of course, I always encourage kids, say, go to the altar, support each other, pray for one another. Don't be off by yourself. And asking your kids who they connected with will tell you if they made new friends, right? Because if you hear a name that you're not familiar with, be prepared because they're going to get text messages. They're going to get, and you're going to start seeing, the parents are going to see, messages on phones maybe from kids they don't know. And or it could be a kid in the youth group they don't know, right? So you want to make sure, right? Be prepared for those things. Who did you connect with? Who did you hang out with? That's the better way to say it. Who did you hang out with at camp? Question number 4, do you feel like, and this is once you're setting up the parent to say, look, do you feel like you should start or renew any spiritual practices that will strengthen your relationship with God, right? You're saying, look, is there, do you need a new Bible? They don't, because they have it on their phone. Do you, do you need more time in the morning? Do you feel like you're supposed to? And kids, once again, parents are preparing these things, but it's the students who will probably bring these ideas to their parents and say, hey, I really feel like I'm supposed to fast, or I feel like we're supposed to do this, or, those type of things, or you're just saying, hey, maybe we're going to, this is going to be a serving weekend. Do you want to go and serve, at the homeless shelter? Or, I'm just coming up with ideas here for parents to say, look, now is a good time right after camp. Then the next few weeks, you have an open window for establishing some new spiritual norms in that kid's life to help them, adjust back into the real world, as they say, right? So keep the spiritual fires burning, Parents, ask your youth pastor if they have any follow-up devotional material. That's key. And there's a whole section in this about follow-up. Youth pastors, follow up with your kids. Make sure they have a resource that they can use. Maybe it's based on the theme of the camp. Any of those things. Be sure they have a resource. I have plenty of what's called SOAP studies. So if you're interested in that, I'll put links down in the description below. You can get SOAP studies that I have over in my store, and you can get those and get them printed off and say, hey, do this for the next 30 days or whatever it may be, 21 days, and say, hey, this is a great way to keep the fires burning in your heart. Number 5, did anything in the message stick out to you, right? You may just say, parents, ask casually, hey, what did they talk about at camp? And they may remember something, they may remember nothing, but at least the question gets asked. And say, hey, what was the message about? Did they do it? Was it funny? Was there an illustration? Anything stand out to you? Let them talk, right? Let them just open up the door and say, hey, this is, trying to disciple my own child here. It's okay to ask these questions, right? Once again, pepper them, right? Not pepper them, but, sprinkle them. What I mean, sprinkle them in conversations, car rides, dinner around the table, mom and dad taking turns, right? If there's both a mom and dad there, right? So kids won't remember most of the messages, just like you won't remember what your pastor says from week to week, but some things stick out. Ask about the parts, the quotes, illustrations, those kind of things, right? All right, question number 6. Do you believe God is asking you to make any lifestyle changes so you can better serve Christ? So parents are basically saying, how can I help you after camp? Whether that's establishing new norms or creating space in the home. Maybe it's, hey, is it a good idea? Would you like to pray at dinner? Would you, in the morning time, would it be okay if I prayed with you? It's a great opportunity for parents to when that child that you have just brought home is sensitive to the things of God. Why not establish new norms and say, hey, I am for you, buddy. I want to help you. I want to help you keep this fire burning. I want to help this if you've made a commitment to Christ, I want to help you do that. So maybe it's praying before school in the morning. Maybe it's reading just a short couple of Bible verses. Whatever that is, it's a great opportunity to do those kind of things, right? And so, look, I always ask students, hey, so what changes? And if they say nothing, then it's possible they have not had an authentic encounter with Jesus. If nothing changes after camp, nothing, they change absolutely nothing about their lifestyle. They don't make any choices. They don't give up anything. They don't start anything. It's quite possible that they did not have an encounter. I'm not saying they're not saved. I'm saying they didn't have an encounter with Jesus that week. That's all I'm saying. Everyone who meets Jesus changes something. That's what I believe. I think Scripture bears that out. Zacchaeus, the tax collector, met Jesus and gave back money to those whom he had cheated. The leper who was healed became more thankful. There are changes you can see and changes you cannot see. Be patient, but don't be afraid to ask the question, what changes, right? Last question. How can I help you in your walk with Christ? That's what the parent is saying. Through all of these questions, parents are asking those questions, right? They're saying, hey, what can I do for you, buddy? I'm here for you. I'm your mom, your dad, and I want to help you do this, right? And once again, rightfully so, you're the parents. It's not the youth pastor's job to make sure that their kids are going to be mature. We're doing our part, but at the end of the day, we're trying to equip parents to disciple their kids so that one day their kids are growing up to remember, yes, the times at camp, but they also remember their parents praying with them and reading scripture with them and serving with them. That's where that is going to happen, right? That's where it starts to solidify. And camp is the opportunity, the springboard into that, right? And this is the most important question. As the chief disciple maker in the home, your kids need to know that you are not only committed to them making good kids or moral kids, but that you are there to make them fishers of men as well. Ask good questions, then listen, and then just love your kid like crazy until the fruit of God's work at camp is made clear. Keep your eyes open, parents, right? You're encouraging them. Make a video for parents and say, parents, here's some things you want to look for after camp, and really equip them, because not every parent is equipped. Sure, you have some parents in the church that are church parents. They grew up in the church. We're seeing less and less of that. How much more do we need to equip parents? Because they don't even know the questions to ask. They have no idea that these are questions you should ask your child. And so you should help them, encourage them, youth pastors. And then you have the sheet there, right? So once again, I'll go back up to here and just say, look, this is available. It is down in the chat. It's in the chat. It's also down in the description. So I hope that you will pick it up. All right, let's go ahead and jump back here. And we'll see how the chat's doing, because we're going to wrap up together here. So if you have questions about camp, now is the time, because we're going to start wrapping up our session here. I do want to remind you that once again, if you are interested at all, summertime is a great time to get coaching. Okay, and I want to encourage you to get coaching. If you can get coaching, you should get coaching. Okay. Because it makes all the difference. Coaching just makes all the difference. Because how many times do you sit at your desk or at home or at the coffee shop and say, man, I wish I had somebody to talk to. I wish I had somebody to really, really, really talk to. Okay? Like, I got to talk to somebody, and I got to talk to somebody I can trust, and I can talk to somebody about, whether it's personal, whether it's, how many times do you not want to divulge that you don't know how to do something? Well, I'm here to help build skills. I'm here to help you do that, right? So that you can be well equipped. I'm an equipper, right? We're called to equip the church for the work of the ministry. That's what I do. I try to help youth pastors stay in their churches as long as they can, as long as they want to, so that they can avoid some of these hiccups, like not having a graduation service done, not doing camp right, whatever that is. These little missteps are the things that catch new youth pastors especially, but anybody can be tripped up by it because they have not built in the discipline in their own life, and nobody's told them. A lot of youth pastors, just nobody's told them. I was like that. There's plenty of things that nobody told me. Have you never said that? Have you never said, I wish somebody would have told me that? I will tell you that. If I'm coaching you, I'm going to tell you that. You can ask me, and I will tell you 100% the truth, okay? And I will try to help you stay in your church and keep doing ministry. Whatever God's called you to do, whatever type of youth ministry God's called you to build, I'm going to help you do that. So I want to encourage you to, if you can get coaching, because coaching changes everything, okay? Links down below. Do not forget that there are resources for you, okay? Don't forget the summer bundle. It's down there, okay? Summer bundle's down there. Also, the graduation guide, Youth Pastor's Graduation Guide, down in the description, okay? Also, the Youth Pastor's Guide to Youth Camp, the Youth Pastor's Guide to Youth Camp. Beefy, 54 pages, lots of information in there. So I hope, guys, you've enjoyed this session as I've enjoyed this session. If you have questions, this is your last time to do it here, because I'm going to be getting on out of here, letting you get on with your day. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, by the way, go ahead and leave me a thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up button. Tell me, that tells me you like the video and you want more videos like this. I'm going to be doing more lives, guys. I like making videos, but I just tell you what, it just takes so much time. I'm tired of making stuff for the algorithm, and I just want to answer questions. So I'm just going to do more lives. And I'm going to go live at different times. I'm going to go live at night. I'm going to go live in the afternoon. I'm going to go live twice a day. Who knows? I'm just going to be all in there because there are things that I read and see that I go, oh, I should make a video about that. Or I should make a video. I don't want to make a video. Things move so fast. It takes me time to make a thoughtful video. Now, I'm not done making videos necessarily, but I'm going to start making other videos and live videos and things like that. So hang out. If you're not a subscriber yet, be sure to go and click the subscribe button, and you'll get videos like this in your inbox on a regular basis. But that is it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for being a part today. And once again, if you have questions, if you're watching this in the future, comments down below. Leave me your comments, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Otherwise, you guys have an awesome summer. You may see me do this again. Feel free, by the way, to share this video with somebody. If you have a network of people that say, hey, listen, you need to pay attention. If you know a brand new youth worker who needs to hear this, send it to them and say, hey, bro, you got to have some wisdom. This Paul will give you the wisdom for free right here. Just pay attention, right? If you're a pastor, give this to your youth pastor. If you want your youth pastor to stay at your church longer than 2 years, give them this video and say, hey, I'm going to help my youth pastor stick around, right? All right, ladies, gentlemen, we will see you in the next video. Have a great day, everybody. God bless, and have a great summer. If I don't see you again before summer, have a great summer, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.